Welcome to another pop-up episode of the CS podcast. Thank you so much for joining us again. We are excited to announce that we'll be coming back full-fledged in the summertime of 2023 as we recognize how important and valuable this podcast has been to our community, and we're going to get into just what that means here today. Before we do that, I did want to make sure that I shout out again, and I'm going to do this several times, right? But I'm going to shout out again our dear friend and the person who made this all connect, Kelly Shakur. Shout out to Kelly from Fro Gang. She is the one that connected us to the young lady today, made all of this stuff in motion, made sure that her voice was heard, that she was supported, and ultimately connected everything, all the dots for today to happen. So big shout out to Fro Gang. If you're unaware of Fro Gang, and I do want to show you really quickly, they are an amazing organization centered in Pittsburgh, very much focused on empowerment, making sure that we are feeling proud about our natural roots, our natural hair. She works with young women and young men, supporting, making sure that they know that they are whole, that they are loved, and just the way that they are the way that they are made. If you are not a part of Fro Gang, if you have a little person, I highly recommend that you check them out. And Kelly is out in these streets, right? Like she's not just lip service, and they do more than just hair. They're out in the communities. She hosts med programs. Like anytime she shows up to several programs that I've hosted, and shut it down. The kids love her, absolutely love her, and that's because of her heart and her spirit. It's truly a testament to her work. So definitely check out Fro Gang if you are not familiar with them. You can see her website. It's frogang.org, if I'm not mistaken. Of course it is. And learn more about them there. So we'll get back into that as we get into today. But today, I know we just got connected a few days ago, but I could not let too much time pass without this update because of how quick the turnaround was. And it really is a testament of the power of we. It really is a matter of because we all showed up, because we all witnessed what was going on, because y'all called, what can we do? Y'all donated, y'all did what was necessary to make sure that Cherrell and her two kids were taken care of, because the circumstances that they are in are not okay, never been okay. And we know that it's not just them, it's so many of us that are dealing with the same thing. And this is what happens when we show up, the power of we child. So I ain't going to say too much more. I'm going to bring Cherrell on in. What's going on, sis? How are you today?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing way better.
Yes, I'm doing great. I've been excited about this update since I heard the good news, child. Like I am,
Great. Yeah.
yes, I'm so happy. So a little background for you all out in the ethernet and the interwebs. So after we got off the first podcast, was a couple days ago. A lot of you had like some great suggestions for Cherrell. Y'all were asking the important questions like, oh, they never took you to the magistrate, which was key. I didn't know that either until we were here. Now I knew, well, I mostly knew. I'll say that wasn't legal, as far as an eviction goes. In this circumstance, which you'll be able to talk about more, but I wasn't fully sure because I haven't been in the housing space in a minute. So I wanted to check on that. So that was absolutely essential. So if you were someone who asked that question, that key question, shout out to you. Shout out to you for asking the real questions, because if you don't know, you don't know. And so many people, when they are served illegal eviction papers, that is an eviction without going to the magistrate. If you don't know, then you think that it's okay, I guess I gotta leave. And so many people just up and leave without knowing, even where to go to ask the questions, right? Like to see if this is even a legal thing to do. But luckily, like we were able to connect with Cherrell, then we were able to connect with some other key people so that we can get to this point we are in right now. So I'm gonna stop running my mouth. Cherrell, why don't you tell us like what happened after the podcast?
So I was connected with some more amazing women, young black women. I love you guys. I keep saying thank you so many times. I don't know how much more I can thank you guys. But someone was able to reach out to my landlord and come up with him, or should I say she, because we found out it was a she, or she was a she. Sorry. But yeah. All right. It all worked out. It all worked out. They're giving us more time to actually be able to find a place. They were actually admitting that they were wrong and they were aware. that the fix was just minor. It wasn't a permanent fix, and it was some renovations needed, and that was the urgency for us to have to get out so soon. It was never, you know, you did this, and this, which was listed on the paperwork. Um, he was willing to waive the fees. He just wants to stay in the loop with everything, pretty much, as far as when I'm going to move, if I found the house and so forth. But the eviction is definitely not real or legal, should we say? So the paperwork and everything, I'm probably going to trash because I have many pictures though, just in case I might need them. I do have pictures of them, so they're not going to be totally gone, but they won't be just sitting on my living room table like counting the days down.
Right. And I would hold on to it, period, just in case, until all of this is said and done.
You say this is your paper. This came from your printer.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, okay. I'll keep it. I'll keep it.
filed out of the way.
But so now I'm just in the process of looking for a house. I was looking before, but I was willing to take like the first thing that came available. But with this news from my landlord, I'm able to actually, be able to search and house shop to be able to find something. They didn't recommend me taking my time as if it was just something I wanted to do because they know the basement issue will reoccur.
Right.
So if anybody have any housing lists, any landlords, Section 8 approved, you know how to reach us. I appreciate you guys. Um, but it's just a big relief lift off my shoulder. The days just not knowing if someone's gonna knock on my door or if the toilet's gonna flush or those worries were here every day with me since the problem. So it's like definitely a stress reliever to know that he gave us some more time and he did make himself accountable for the situation that occurred. Him knowing that we had knew a little bit more information than what I knew. You hear me? We knew more than what I knew. So he was like, okay, well, she got some education. She figured this out and found some good people to, vouch for her and see what was the right thing and the wrong thing he was doing. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to like relax a little bit for a moment, take a breather, reset, restart, because you guys know that was a tragedy here. I'm like, I don't even know what other word to use, but it was, it was pretty stressful.
That's the power of we, y'all. That is the power of we, as you said, right? And
Yes.
for anyone who did not see the original podcast or just to update y'all or remind you of what was going on, Cherrell and her kids have been at this place for about 2 years. And since being there, their kitchen has it rained essentially, like there was so much flooding or leaking coming from the ceiling in the kitchen. Then the sink malfunctioned in the kitchen to the point where they could not use the sink anymore. Then the furnace went out and they were without heat for I believe 2 weeks, without heat for about 2 weeks, and y'all know how winters get in Pittsburgh. And now the latest is that the septic system failed and the basement flooded with fecal matter and all types of toxic material, toxic fluids, to the point where it was unsafe and unhealthy for her and her kids to stay in the home. Mind you, her kids have asthma, so it even made it even more unsafe for them to remain in the home. It took 2 weeks before she even heard anything back about what was going on after she reached out to the landlord. And if you notice, she keeps saying he, because her understanding with her landlord was a he. And she's never actually spoken to this person. Like they've never like picked up the phone when she calls. It's only messages, is my understanding, until now. So after the basement flooded, took 2 weeks to hear back. They eventually offered to put her and her kids up at a motel, which was grimy. Like the motel itself was grimy and unsafe and unclean for her kids and herself. And on top of that, she would have been required to pay a deposit for the motel for them to stay, so that she opted out to not do that because why would you jump out of the frying pan and into the pot, right? So they didn't do that. Eventually Cherrell was forced to go and file a complaint with the health department, who did, do an investigation and found that the claims were legitimate. And so they ordered the landlord to fix the issue. And after that, that's when the things that feel very retaliatory started happening, right? Like now all of a sudden they're nitpicking at her Section 8 voucher, they're nitpicking at this, oh, you owe these fees or whatever else, things that were never even brought up to Cherrell prior to, right? Like weren't an issue until this filing at the health department, like that acknowledgement of like, this is wrong and y'all need to deal with it. Doing things like there was an inspection in her home, and the people who showed up to do an inspection had an open firearm, an open invisible firearm in the place where her and her kids exist, right? Like, so it got really heavy. It got very heavy for Cherrell, and then ultimately culminating into this 15-day vacate notice that was tacked to her door. And so her neighbor, again, shout out to Kelly Shakur, got wind of what was going on. Of course, Kelly was like, that's wrong. What can we do, sis? Like, and very much as far as she knew, like, we just got to get her out of here, get her and her family out of here. So Kelly put together a fundraiser to make sure that Cherrell had the funds necessary so her Section 8 voucher would not be jeopardized in this retaliatory, whatever was going on. We got on the podcast. Cherrell told her story, and immediately, like, folks started calling, what could we do, sis? Like, folks started donating, like, folks started feeding us information, like, this is what you need to do, this is what you can do, like, this is definitely illegal, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what I did, now the person that Cherrell had referenced earlier is Jayla Ruckers from the Hill District Consensus Group. Big shout out to them. And now let me tell you why.
Yes.
Big shout out to Jayla. Jayla is a beast in these streets, like loving, here for our people, know her stuff up and down, and she is always here for whatever the collective solution is. She don't want no problems, but you definitely not about to give her none either. So I just happened to get a flyer about an event that the Hill District Consensus Group, along with a number of other housing advocacy groups, are hosting next Saturday, which I'll get into in a little bit. That same day, actually, the day before, and then that same day, I got an updated flyer related to renters' rights. And so, because we just got this, I just got this information, and I knew we had some questions about some renters' rights related to, like, was that a legal eviction or not? I hit Ms. Carol back, Ms. Carol Hardiman. Shout out to her as well with the Hill District Consensus Group. Told her what was going on, and she immediately connected us with Jayla. Like, yep, like, I'm tagging in Jayla here. Like, she'll take it from here. Jayla said, like, send me young sister's information and I'll connect with her. Sent her phone number. Jayla called the next day. They connected, and it was on from there. And it was funny how y'all connected. Can you talk about how y'all got to the point of connecting in person? Because it's so funny, because it wasn't intentional, but it just happened the way that God decided it was going to happen.
Yes, it was awesome. So I was told to stop down at the Housing Stabilization Center downtown on 7th Avenue, just to take my paperwork that the landlord had sent to me. And I was on my way there, just parked, literally like 5 steps away from the door. My phone rings. It was Jayla calling me. Hey, Cherrell, I just was told about your situation. I would like for you to come in. I'm downtown at the Housing Stabilization Center. Whenever you get a moment, can you come down? And I'm like, oh, that's so great. I'm at the door right now, actually. So it was literally like her hanging up the phone and me walking through the door. It was so awesome how that worked out.
Yes, look at God. It was like,
yes,
all the pieces together. Put all the pieces together. I mean, boom, 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 just like that. So Cherrell and Jayla met in person, like, immediately. Talked about what was going on. Cherrell passed over all the necessary information for the landlord, their lawyers, etc. And all of that heaviness, right, that she's been dealing with for years, right, and gotten very, very heavy these last few months. All of that heaviness shifted, right? And so Jayla was able to connect with the landlord. Hey, like, like, I understand there's an issue here. We want to, make sure that everybody's taken care of, like, whatever y'all needs are, also whatever Cherrell and her family's needs are. And there was so much understanding. There was so much care and concern. It was like, oh, yeah, we understand. She has a family. We don't want any problems. We don't want them to have any problems. We just recognize the place is not safe and we want to get it renovated as soon as possible. Sure, fam, we understand that. Okay, well, we can do this if you want to, Jayla, offer to, for them to go through just mediation for the years that we're talking about. Um, and, and, they were like, you know what? We ain't even worried about them fees. Like, we'll just waive it all. Like, let's just make sure this is a clean break. She doesn't have to rush out. You're right. It was not a legal eviction, but we just want her to be able to move on so we can get the renovation started. But, whatever. So everything turned out pretty great. Now, it was verbal, not written. So we're hoping to, possibly get some things in writing just to make sure that all the bases are covered. But where we are standing right now is in a place of justice, right? Like for all intents and purposes, like we're in a place where Cherrell and her family are being heard and respected as people. Their needs, their what they are owed, right? Like are being respected right now. All thanks to Jayla, to Miss Carol, to you all that tuned in the other day, to you all who asked the questions like, is this legal? To you all who made the suggestions, you should try this. To you all who reached out to me, connect me with sis, like to you all who donated, like to you all who shared, you all who witnessed, like that's the power of we, right? Like that's how we got here today. It's so beautiful. And like I said, like I couldn't let too much time pass because it literally like podcast this day, next day, boom, no more problems. That's simple. It is that simple. So Jayla, you did say that right now. So where y'all are standing right now is a beautiful place. You're no longer in a state of crisis. You're no longer counting down the few days before you and your kids are out in the street and figuring out, well, where y'all going to go. You're no longer in a place of packing your things in urgency. You're now able to make conscious and intentional decisions about where y'all are going next. And that is a beautiful place to be in. So I'm going to ask you, like, we're all here, we're family, like, we're a community. How can the community show up for you? What can we do to show up for you in this transition to make it as smooth as possible?
Can I say one thing about Jayla real quick? I'm so sorry.
Please
because
do.
this was the part for me, for her, because when I went in there, Jayla had already spoke to the landlord and had everything done. So we sat down for 2 minutes and she told me everything that happened, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even need to show her the paper. She already had the information. So thank you, Jayla. Like again, I would keep telling you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
But right now I'm just looking for a 3-bedroom still. Um, try to say like maybe on the south side, west end area, north side. I don't know. My daughter, the fact that I'm trying to stay in this area because my daughter, 6 years old, finally found a good school with good teachers. So she's finally doing better, like educational wise, in that particular school. Baby sis is in the first grade and been in 3 schools already because nobody could get her to where she needed to be. You gotta stay tuned. But I'm just looking for a house. If anybody have any landlords, any housing listing, any information on 3-bedroom Section 8 approved housing, then I will definitely be appreciative of that information.
Awesome. Yep. And so if anybody is aware of anyone who has an available unit, Section 8 approved, feel free to shoot me an email. Reach out to Cherrell if you know her personally. Also, I'm going to put the information in the comment section as well, so that you all are aware of it. But if you hear of anything, know of anything, definitely shoot that over because the goal is still for them to move on, right? Like, so we ain't all done, right? Like the battles have been won. The war has not been won just yet. That's what we're heading towards. So to do that, we have to make sure that her and her kids are safe, housed in a stable place, stable conditions, preferably north side, south side, west end, anywhere that's close to her baby's school, so that y'all can continue to receive the education that she deserves. Really quickly, I do want to make mention. So, like I said, the Hill District Consensus Group, along with a number of other groups, I don't remember off the top of my head, and I don't want to mess it up. But they have an event happening next Saturday. Next Saturday, it'll be downtown, but it'll also, or it's either downtown or Oakland. Let me pull it up so I don't stop, so I can stop lying. I'll also put it in the notes. But they have an event coming up, and the intention is to focus on renters' rights. It'll also be streaming on Zoom, so you can register, I believe, here. But Renters' Rights Education and Action Forum is next Saturday from 12 to 3 p.m. There will be lunch served. It's definitely something you want to show up for. If you are a renter, you absolutely should show up. Like, it's critical that you show up because, as we see, anything can happen, whether you did something or not, whether you are at fault or not, like anything can happen. So it's really important that we know what our rights are at all times. If you are not a renter, if you know renters, right? Like, so that's all of us. You should still show up, right? Because like that's how we're able to show up for each other, just like we were able to show up for Cherrell. In the notes, like as she was telling her story last week or a couple days ago, and folks were listening, like, that don't sound right, that don't sound legal. You know, the only way we're able to do that is when we know our rights. So definitely, you want to show up. Again, it's not just in person. If you are not able to show up in person, you can also show up on Zoom. So here's the link, and I'm gonna also put it in the comments as well. Tag in it's from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. next Saturday. Hop on Zoom, do whatever you're doing, go shopping, go out with the kids, do whatever it is that you're doing. And you can just have it on your phone, you can have it on your laptop, whatever you're doing, and make sure that you are getting that information. If not for you, for someone else that you care about, that you love on, right? Like, because this is absolutely crucial information to make sure that we are protecting ourselves, right? Like the laws are not in our favor. So we want to make sure we grab on to any information that we have at our disposal as renters, as people, as community. Because otherwise, like folks like Cherrell and everybody else, like, is going to suffer. And we know for a fact that it is not Cherrell and her family who are just the only ones dealing with this right now, right? A quick little anecdote. I had a person that we are working with in a separate capacity. They are in a housing program, and the program no longer wanted to service the client, and it really just came down to them not understanding what the needs were. And because they didn't necessarily want to take the time to figure out what the needs were, their solution was to put this person and their kids out on the street, which would effectively put them kids in the system. It was not right. It wasn't right at all, right? And so if that person and we did not understand what their rights were and what the proper recourse was, they would be on the street. But that's not what happened. Because we knew what their rights were, because we knew who to call, they were able to appeal. We both showed up for the appeal, presented the information. Not only was that termination of program overturned, but some new stipulations to support that person and their family was put into place. That is the power of knowledge, right? Like, things aren't always in our favor, and that's a reality. However, the things that are in our favor, we need to grab onto that ASAP, as soon as we can, as much as we can, and share it amongst each other, right? Like, so showing up today, like, it's such a powerful thing. To hear Cherrell's story is such a powerful thing. To call, to text, to email, to send over the few dollars, like, to make sure that, like, whatever is needed is taken care of. All of that builds up and results in us being able to take care of each other the way that we need to take care of each other. So big shout out to y'all. Again, I'm going to put everything that we said here, all the resources, and all of the needs in the comment section. If you have anything for Cherrell, if you know of it, like I said, like if you know of any place that is coming available soon, please definitely reach out. You can email myself if you know Cherrell directly, like you can hit her up. Or you can hit up Kelly as well, I would imagine. I hope so, Kelly. I don't mean to volunteer you, but you in this too, sis. So that's all I'm going to say today. Again, like, if you are available next week, please plan to either be in person at that forum or show up online to make sure we're getting that information. Cherrell, is there anything else that you want to say to the folks today?
No, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to get a T-shirt that says thank you on it. Just wear it for like a month or so. But no, that's it. I just appreciate everybody and everything you guys are doing for me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, and that'll do it for today. We appreciate y'all. Again, we're going to be back full force in the summertime. So look out for more information for that. In the meantime, you will see me cropping up every now and again, because life is still lifing, and our people still need to be heard. But until then, definitely, just keep looking out for each other, because it is the power of we.